Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another episode of Exclusive Showcase. This one is going to be showcasing a brand new bundle that is going to be including Shabraz, the Skyshark. So this shark bird is 16 mana for a 5/5. It has Companion, so when you cast this card, if you fulfilled the Companion requirement, create a Braylon Skyshark Rider token. The Companion requirement is that your starting deck has 4 or more cards with cycling, and you are absolutely going to want to make sure that you fulfill that requirement because Braylon Skyshark Rider makes it so that it's a support with 3 shields, and it makes it so that your shark creatures get +2/+0 and gain trample. So Shabraz is going to be getting +2/+0 and trample. But more importantly, when you cycle or discard another card, deal 2 damage to your opponent's planeswalker. Then your first creature gets +1/+1. That second ability is huge and really strong. And so you're actually going to be seeing a lot of that in this video. Then Shabraz also has Resourceful 3. So there we go. Whenever you draw a card, if that card's not the first card you drew this turn, trigger this effect, and this can happen up to 3 times. So the Resourceful is whenever you draw a card beyond the first up to 3, this creature is going to get +1/+1 permanently, and you gain 2 life. So that's going to trigger a lot too. And then finally, you've got Activate 3 blue or white, and your human creatures get +1/+1 and gain flying until end of turn. The activate ability is kind of meh, but the top 2 abilities are definitely really cool, and having a flying shark is absolutely delightful. Then we've got Herald of the Forgotten. Herald of the Forgotten is one of the 3 exclusive rares in this bundle, and so it's 18 for an 8/8, and when you cast this card, return the first 3 non-spell cards with cycling from your graveyard to your hand. Those cards are going to gain 9 mana each. So you play the Herald, you get the first 3 non-spell cards with cycling back from your graveyard, and you give them all mana. So that's pretty cool as you actually play your cycling cards, like when you're not cycling them, but when you actually play them and then you get them back and with mana. So that card's actually pretty nice. Then we've got Spellpire Phoenix. So this is 10 for a 4/2. And when this creature enters the battlefield, return the first spell card with cycling from your graveyard to your hand. Then when you cycle another card, if this creature is in your graveyard, return this creature to your hand and give it +2/+2. So if you run this with the new lady that makes it so that when you cycle a card, it gets discarded instead, you're going to get all of your cycling stuff in your graveyard instead of exile. And so things like the Phoenix and this Herald of the Forgotten are going to be able to get you a lot more back. That being said, in my testing, the Phoenix wasn't all that great. I found it was better to run a different creature or no creature at all. So, yeah, it's a cool card, but it's not as good as the Shark himself. And then finally, we've got Crystalline Resonance. This is going to be a 5 mana support with 2 shields, and when you cycle another card, exile this support. Then create a copy on the board under your control of the opposing support with the highest base mana cost. That copy gains Enchanted at the beginning of your turn. Return the first card named Crystalline Resonance from your exile to the board under your control, and then exile this support. So really you just get 1 turn of whatever your opponent's big support is, and then Crystalline Resonance comes back, and then you can actually go ahead and cycle again, and then have Crystalline Resonance go off again. So as you can see, the bundle itself really hinges a lot around cycling between Crystalline Resonance, Spellpire Phoenix, Shabraz the Skyshark, and Herald of the Forgotten. That being said, I did a lot of testing with this with cycling, and I found that the best way to use this bundle, and namely really just Shabraz, was to just go full shark and go with discard. So I actually wound up pairing it with Song of Creation, which makes you discard your hand every turn. And then with the Braylon token down, it did a lot of damage and got pretty big pretty fast. So I'm going to go ahead, snap on over to some gameplay. You're going to get to see this in the Legacy Training Grounds, even though the deck I'm using is purely made of Ikoria cards and is 100% standard. So enjoy the footage. Alrighty, so this first match is going to be in Legacy Training Grounds. And so I thought, all right, you know what? Standard Training Grounds isn't available right now. Let's put the Skyshark into Legacy and see what happens. Now, this deck is absolutely bonkers, like super nutty bonkers. So here's the image of the deck itself. And the deck really centers around our Skyshark in conjunction with Song of Creation. So Song of Creation is going to be making us discard our hand every turn, and then the Skyshark is going to get buffed up every time we discard something. And so here we're pretty lucky. We've got Song of Creation and we've got our Skyshark really early on here. So Song of Creation has to be priority 1. And when Song of Creation plays itself, it actually immediately triggers that Resourceful to gain mana. So here you're seeing that I'm drawing cards. I drew a land, and it's the first land I've drawn this turn, so it gets full mana, and now it's going to play itself, and now the Titan's Nest is going to give me mana, and now it's going to start giving me even more mana, and things are going to start getting exiled, so it's actually exiling a Sharknado from my deck, which is creating Sharknado tokens, and now the Skyshark is getting buffed up and burning Vraska as this all starts to come together. So that's one little small turn. The Skyshark, just one casting of it, has already become a big boy, and Beckett is a problem. So we definitely have some removal in this deck, and we're going to need to draw into that in order to get rid of Beckett, because let's face it, playing with a Sharknado is really fun, but we absolutely do not want our opponent to be playing with a Sharknado. So here the Titan's Nest is going to draw us a card. Ooh, there we go. That's a removal card right there. And now let's play that second Titan's Nest so that it's going to draw us more cards, triggering Song of Creation's Resourceful. Ideally, we can draw enough, yeah, perfect, that we can go for blood here. And so we're going to have Shabraz fight against the pirate. And let's face it, I mean, if you've watched Peter Pan, you know that pirates can't handle sea creatures with sharp teeth. So yeah, our shark just completely obliterates Admiral Beckett, like Captain Hook style. And Shabraz is getting even stronger now. So now Shabraz is up to 25, and you're going to see that we're definitely going to have enough mana to play this next Song of Creation. So that's going to get the wheels turning for this turn in terms of drawing extra cards to the Resourceful and gaining mana from that, and really everything else in the world that we want. So here's our first Resourceful trigger. Remember, we get 5 Resourceful triggers from Song of Creation. There is a land, so that's just going to automatically get full mana. There's another Song of Creation, so there's another trigger. We are going to play the Titan's Nests, even though they've only got 1 stored mana, because it just counts as playing a support for the purposes of our trigger. And so here you're going to see that we're going to start discarding, Vraska is going to start taking damage, and Shabraz is getting shebang big, like pretty big for just, it's just doing so much little tick damage here and there. Shabraz absolutely does not want to see Razia. Razia would be the end of our beautiful little shark here, or at least us in using the beautiful little shark here. But I mean, other than Razia, this is a standard deck in Legacy Training Grounds, absolutely shredding Legacy, like absolutely shredding it like mercilessly. So this is going to be the end of Vraska. There's really nothing that she can do to try and come back from this. So we're going to hit her, and that's it for match number 1. All right, so here for match 2, we're running the same deck, but this time we're up against Legacy Tamiyo. And so this is going to be an example of how this deck plays against a true Legacy deck. So this Tamiyo deck is nasty, and you're going to see how it plays out. But we've got Song of Creation in the opening hand, and so you're really going to get to see a lot of the power of Song of Creation here, along with the other cards in this deck. So we get Song of Creation down, that's going to draw us cards, and it lets us drop down the Nest. And that's really important because that's going to give us mana to just keep playing more and more and more cards. So here it's the end of our turn. We're using the Exile ability to gain some mana. You're seeing that I'm drawing some cards. I think there's actually a bug. I think that every time you activate the Nest's ability, Song of Creation thinks that you're playing a non-land card. So every time you get that confirm cancel prompt, it's like, oh, you're playing a non-creature card. So yeah, you should totally draw cards for this. So here you're gonna see I hit confirm, and boom, we're drawing cards. We're getting the resourceful, and it's very nice. So now Tamio is going to play one of the nastier creatures in the game, Samut, and yeah, Samut is a nasty girl. We need to get rid of her ASAP. And so fortunately we have a removal card in our hand. We won't quite have enough spells in the graveyard and exiled through cycling for that to kill Samut on our first casting, but that's okay. We can just start to whittle her down so that as we get a little bit closer, she just goes kaput Samut, if you catch my drift. But we're not there yet. So we're going to get a Sharknado down. We're getting another Song of Creation down. And that's really important because ideally we don't want the Song of Creation to break. If Song of Creation breaks, that's really not good for us, right? Because that's like one of the main fuelers of this deck. And so this is exciting because now we've got Shabraz. So it's now time for some Shabraz shebang time. So here, we're definitely going to want to try and play that Flare. We want to get rid of Samut. So we want to burn her away. She's got to go. And then we want to get Shabraz down too. Unfortunately, there's a landfall with blue. So that's going to get us exactly 7 mana to play the Flare. And then that's a non-creature spell. So that's going to trigger our lovely Song of Creation. And then we got lucky and drew a land also. So that just automatically gets full mana since that was the first land we drew. And so this is going to get the wonderful cycle going. Now you'll see that Shabaz is buffing up as we are playing these cards, and as Shabaz's resources is kicking in, and Tamio is steadily taking tick damage here from all of our lovely discards for Shabraz. So we've got a whole bunch of Sharknado tokens. Things are looking pretty good. For this turn, I'm kind of hoping that Tamio burns herself out by matching my Sharknado tokens. So let's see what Tamio does. We get the Kraken, and yeah, absolutely, she's burning herself down, which is fantastic. But she is gaining a bunch of mana out of it. She gets a piggy, which is a bummer, but you know, we can deal with the pig. So now we've got Tamio in a pretty good place. She's only at 40 life. We've got our Shark Boy. We've got, unfortunately, we don't have the Song of Creation anymore. I think we lost it when Tamio matched over there. So we do have that full mana land, and so I absolutely want to play that thing, get that down, start gaining some mana. If the Song of Creation is out, it's not. All right, that's too bad. But Tamio is pretty low. So she's down to 10, she's down to 8. Then the Titan's Nest comes in. This should wind up bringing her down to 2 life, I want to say. So that just means one more Shabraz hit, and shebang, it's over. Goodbye, Tamio. So here she goes. She's lowering up Shabraz. She's gaining a bunch of mana. She's hitting us, and it's our turn. We actually didn't lose a Song of Creation, so I'm wrong about that. But we get to go in, and the Sharks are going to absolutely overwhelm this nasty legacy deck of Samut running the Bacon Tamio running Samut and the Bacon. So a lot of really cool interactions and synergies with this deck. I stumbled upon it kind of by accident. I've been doing a lot of testing all day with Shabraz and all sorts of different ideas, and then I finally was like, I need to try this with Song of Creation. So my final thoughts for the bundle on Shabraz the Skyshark is that Shabraz is an amazingly fun card. I did a lot of tinkering in order to make this work. So I found that Shabraz didn't work so well with cycling. I tried maybe 5 different decks, I want to say. The only cycling deck that I liked with Shabraz was a Nissa Sage Animus deck. But as for putting Shabraz with the other cards in the bundle, you can't use the Spellpire Phoenix in in that bundle or with that Planeswalker because it's red, and you can't use the Herald of the Forgotten because it's white. I know that this video did not include gameplay with the Phoenix and the Crystalline Resonance. I had one sort of okay game, but it was like a 10-minute match, and so I didn't want to subject you guys to a really slow match when I had just such amazing footage of the Skyshark with Song of Creation. So I had an incredible amount of fun with this. If you have Song of Creation, then I would definitely suggest that you pick up this card and get playing with it. I played with this well past my required matches for training grounds and for just making this video. I couldn't put the deck down. I was having so much fun with it. So yeah, it's really cool. If you do not have Song of Creation, you do not have other discard outlets, then you're probably not going to get as much out of Shabraz the Skyshark, just because, as I said, the cycling is definitely harder to make work in terms of making this into an unstoppable dynamo. So yeah, those are my general thoughts. It's amazingly fun. I love the idea of sharks that are flying. I love this card in paper. I love this card in this game. But I'm also fortunate enough to have the Song of Creation. So if you do wind up getting this bundle and you wind up making some decks work for you, I'd love to see what your decks are. I'd love to try out some more decks using Shabraz, as I really do like this card quite a bit. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one.